Hey guys, so today I want to talk about interview prep and some interview prep I did for this job that I'm still currently going for. Interview preparation that really helped me with that specific interview, and it's something I'm going to use 100% every single time going forward. So this is something I touched on a little bit in the last video. This is where Alex, one of the guys at Metaintro, went through the job application with me. Just because I asked in the Metaintro Discord, could I get some help for interview prep? And to be honest, it was things, sort of preparation that I never really thought about doing before, but now that I have done it and he's helped me with that, it made total sense. I'm just going to go through pretty much exactly what we did on the call. So hopefully, anyone watching this can do the same and prep for, and this won't even be for Web3. This isn't even Web3 specific, but for this, it helped so much. So just going to dive into the job spec real quick and the notes that I took with it. So where I am with this job, I currently have my fourth stage interview arranged. 5 stages with Web3 Foundation, which is, it's a lot, but to be honest, it's worth it because it's such an amazing company. So yeah, the first stage was a recruiter interview. Second stage was a technical interview. Third stage was creating content for them. I had to create a walkthrough tutorial on how to use, pretty much, it was a Substrate tutorial. Substrate is a language it's a framework to build blockchains. And then now my fourth stage interview, which I have in a week and a bit, is another technical interview. But basically for that third stage interview, for the first technical interview, we went through this and we made some really good notes. So basically the first thing Alex did with me is we sat down, he was like, okay, open up your notes. We're just going to read through the first part of it. So the first thing we did was read through this about the role and technical education. And this is what I put for these notes here. So before even going into the responsibilities, anything like that, you really just have to understand what the role is. So this is the notes I've got here. So making the Web3 tech accessible to devs, making it easy for projects to build on it, and a quote from them, even from the section here, even the best protocols only become useful once developers know them and can build on them. So it's pretty clear that this is an educational, teaching role. I mean, it's in the name, technical educator, but just to really get that clear in my head, what I want to do in the role or what they want from me, having those notes down is great, because then I can go into this next part where I can explain what value I can bring to this role. So I can talk about how, as I've said here, I know how to make educational style video content. I've previous experience educating people on Web3. I have very clear English, because English is my native language, so which is obviously really good because all the tutorials are going to be in English. Wrote in here about using the word educating a lot, because this is obviously, it's all about educating. So if I can just say about that, and also just show about show my passion for Web3, because obviously I think in any sort of teaching or technical or any education role, I think you have to be, well, it probably will help a lot if you're passionate about what you are actually trying to talk or teach about. So this was really good. This was just some things to keep in mind for pretty much the whole interview. If I could slot in any of this sort of thing, then that would be really good. So yeah, so pretty much first of all, just understood the role and explained and thought about what value I personally could bring to this role. Secondly, we looked at the responsibilities. So this is pretty much what I would actually be doing on the role. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one of these points, but you can kind of see every single bullet point here I just made a note of. So the first one, help to maintain and contribute to the Polkadot wiki. So I wrote this down and then I thought about what can I personally do to help that? What experience do I have, in this responsibility? So I have prior documentation experience for customers and for devs in my old job. So yeah, so I can talk about that. Then also I wrote down here, look for areas of improvement in the documentation. So this was actually really good for me. I went through the documentation. I actually found an error with the Polkadot documentation, and I submitted a pull request on GitHub. And the guy who was actually interviewing me merged the pull request a couple of hours before my interview, which was amazing because he talked about it in the interview and was like, okay, yeah, this is the sort of thing you'll be doing on the job, which is obviously amazing. Like, I absolutely nailed that part. So if their company you're applying for is open source, and because it's Web3, it most likely is going to be, you can, do something like that. It would be amazing. But yeah, basically what I'm saying about this point is I went through all the points, or me and Alex went through these together, and just for anything, any of the responsibility, we just had to think about, okay, what have I done before that I could use in this job, which is great because I just kind of had these in mind for when I went into the call. So if he was asking about like video demonstrations, or he was talking about blockchain analysis and documentation, I just can kind of have in my head this sort of thing, and I've kind of just put these in bold as well, just so I kind of have the keywords, support developers and learning, scripting in Python, run live calls in Discord, this sort of thing. There's probably a much better way to arrange these notes as well. You can color. Alex said about color coding them. Probably should have done that. I didn't, but the bolding is whatever works for you. I guess having these bolded like this, so I can just kind of look at it, that helped me. The third part was the requirements. So this is kind of, we did a similar thing as well, where we went through each of these points and we just kind of thought how I can relate it back to myself. So I just made some points here. Great developer experience, blogs, YouTube videos. I know about Solidity, which is asks about down here. Previous workplace, constantly mentoring and teaching junior devs, and it says about teaching new technologies and frameworks. Basically the same as before, going through every point and just seeing how you can relate it back to yourself. Just doing this with these two sections, it made me feel so much more prepared, and honestly, I don't know, it sounds so simple, but this is something I was not doing previously to prepare for interviews. I just would have read through some of this. I would have kind of been like, oh yeah, I know this, and then I would have read about some technologies like Polkadot or whatever, but I just didn't spend the time to kind of just tie it all back to myself. And so honestly, this helped so much making these notes on these two sections. And then I also went through, because this is it's talked a lot about the documentation. I went through the Polkadot docs. I read a bit about them. I kind of made some notes about what I like about them. I was able to talk to the guy in the interview about kind of like my ideas and what I think should be different. He really liked that. And you could do the same for any sort of software or community role, or the code or the way they present it or anything. If you just give your opinion to who's interviewing you, it sounds, well, it doesn't sound, it means you're actually interested in what you're interviewing for. And as Alex said to me, like, so little of the other applicants are going to do that. So it's very easy to go the extra mile with making these notes, this sort of thing, looking at the software. I mean, to be honest, this video has been a little bit unstructured, but I'll conclude with just saying, go through every single point of the job interview or of the job application, see how you can tie it back to yourself, make some notes on it, make the notes readable for you so you can easily tab to them, or read over them, or you just have it clear in your mind. Because doing that for me it just made the interview so much easier. It just made it so simple. And like, even the night before when we did it and went through these notes together, I felt so prepared. I felt so much better compared to like before, when I wouldn't do this and I would kind of just go in blind. So that is everything I have to say about the interview prep. It's probably a bit longer than I expected it to be, but hopefully that really helps people preparing for Web3 job interviews, because just that small process of making some notes, going through the application, it has helped me so much, and I would highly recommend it. So yeah, I'm excited about this next interview in a couple of weeks. Really hope I get this job. The job seems amazing. Company seems amazing. Really excited for it. So yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, you should join the Metaintro Discord to get help on things like this. Look at new jobs, whatever. Just would highly recommend joining that, because the people in there are amazing and they post jobs every single day. So yeah, cheers guys. Thanks.